Hey everyone, and welcome to this session that we have for you today. I'm OX Ghost, CRX Ghost from GEN.ART, and today we are here with Wouter Missler, known to all of you as WootScoot, and we'll be getting to know him a bit better today, and also talk about his upcoming drop called Desolate. WootScoot, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing all right. Enjoying the start of the week.
Good.
You as well? Having a good start to your week?
Yeah, great. It's been great.
Nice. Yeah, so we've been going back and forth a while now this year on your current drop, and I've been fascinated every step of the way of how it looks and all the progression that you've made, and all the little tweaks and little additions to it as we went along. I think you shared a before picture. I think it was yesterday that how it looked, and it's amazing to see how it progressed from there.
It's quite the difference, yeah.
Yeah, it's really quite a difference. How do you feel yourself about this development?
Well, honestly, I didn't feel like it improved that much until I looked at that image. I found it yesterday in like my old downloads folder, and it just was quite astounding to me how much of a difference I have made in like it's been quite a while. It's been like months, honestly.
Yeah.
But it was quite a surprise for some reason.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting contrast when you put how it looks previously and how it looks now. So for today, we would like to get to know more about you as well, and next to your collection. So could you tell us a bit more about your background? How did you first get started into art, and then ultimately generative art and NFTs?
Yeah, for sure. So basically, I would say about like 6 years ago, I started just programming like little websites and things, mostly like HTML, CSS, if that tells you anything. Just little websites, basically, just for fun. I was also quite young at the time. That progressed into me finding the coding train. I don't know if you've heard that before.
Is that the YouTube channel?
Most generative artists probably know the coding train. And I just started watching those videos and learning from it and getting kind of addicted to like P5,
nice,
especially. And from there, I went to an art school, which I eventually dropped out of. It was a little bit too artsy for me. But yeah, that basically just taught me like a way of thinking, if you get what I'm talking about. And through that, I just started making little pieces of art with P5, not even knowing generative art was a thing, honestly, until I started going on Twitter and I found people like Lokme, or I think there was I forgot her name, but she was doing like daily little geometric pieces.
Yeah.
I completely blanked on her name, but just through Twitter basically, and then FX Hash became a thing, and I started following along with that, and that's basically what leads you to today. And
cool. Sounds like you stumble upon the generative art world through just finding something interesting and finding something you like as a hobby.
Yeah.
Nice. It's I bet it's a nice feeling turning something you like to do just with natural passion and then turning into something that you can also kind of form a career out of it.
Yeah, honestly, the best feeling in the world.
Nice.
You're just doing something you love, and then it turns out, hey, I could make some money off of this. It's crazy.
And then what inspires you ultimately the reason you create?
Yeah, this is a tough one for me because I really like to just play around with things. Just like, for example, I don't know, a noise field, and then find some weird formula in that noise field and play around with that. Just see where I end up, basically. I love just starting with like a super vague idea of what I'm going to create, and then just break it with things like noise and just see what happens. And that's basically how 90% of my creations get formed.
So like a blank canvas, and all of a sudden you want to try out patterns, and from patterns you try what else can I add, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've heard from a lot of artists that the blank canvas can be the most intimidating But honestly, I felt the other way around on most of my creations, where it's been the most like easy to just get started and do something that I felt like doing, and then working it into something that feels complete or feels like a finished artwork. That is the hardest part to me.
Yeah, because that leads me to my next question. Like, do you have any strong views on constraints versus freedom when it comes to your scripts and algorithms and the art they produce?
Yeah, so like I said before, for my like creativity to flow, I do need to be like free. So I try to not constrain myself at all at the start. But then once the idea starts forming, maybe it's like compositionally or it's in the colors or in the theming, that's when I start constraining myself in that idea, which I've gotten better at over time. That's definitely the thing I'm trying to improve at more nowadays. I like T. Boswell, Tyler. He wrote a great blog post about this actually, about having these not these constraints that just like constrain a variable to a certain range,
Yeah,
but saying like I have these types of outputs that I really like. So I have like these three types of outputs with these ranges of the variables,
yeah,
and just marking them like that is definitely a way that I really like to work.
yeah. Because I've seen like from the progress, like you have different layers to Desolate,
Yeah, true. Yeah.
and all layers have their own spectrum in that sense of what they can do. And it's been quite fascinating seeing you play around with the limitations on all of these and
Right.
how it all cohesively comes together in the end. Do you have like what is your perspective on when it's done, for example, when playing around with these spectrum of possibilities?
Yeah, that's definitely the toughest. Deciding when you want to start finishing up a project, because I honestly never want to, because you can go on forever and get to a million different places.
I bet you can.
You just keep on going, keep on going. It does obviously change the artwork, which is I think the point I'm getting at. It's like once you find a theme or like a general idea that you actually really like in all your experimentation, that's when you can start locking in towards that and then just polishing that idea. I think that's really how I like to work.
Nice, nice. And for this collection, um, like what were your inspirations for this blank canvas, or was it something natural that happened? And is there a message also behind it that you hope the viewers would take away from your pieces?
Yeah, so it started out after sweeping. I don't know, it's another collection that I've made over on FX Hash.
Yeah,
Um, that was like a very mountainous project that I did. It was like the first time I used, I call it like a light map. So it's basically a black and white canvas where I assign a color based on the brightness. So I drew these black and white mountains, and then I would assign colors based on their brightness, which gave this very like cartoony effect, very
yeah,
like blocky, big paint type style. And I really wanted to just experiment with that. There we go again. That's exactly what I do. I took sweeping, I just went crazy, and I just saw what I could do.
yeah,
So I went more into this like monolithic type style, where you would have this sort of isolated pawn, mound, whatever you want to call it, in the middle of a barren field, kind of standing out.
yeah,
And that's kind of where the idea formed as well for like the meaning behind the piece. Definitely more in desolation and in isolation. The feeling you can get from being isolated or lonely. You can take it both ways. You can take it. I mean, you can take it the bad way, of course, where you feel lonely, and you feel like you're trapped. You're standing out. You're the odd one out. But I feel that there's also a more powerful meaning behind this, which is basically it's tough to explain, but it's more like try to use that the feeling of standing out as like a fuel to you standing out in a good way. It's very tough to explain now that I'm trying to say it. but it's like you have like artists which have their own very unique style, for example.
Yeah.
And those artists often go the farthest because they're recognizable. So that's one of the positive things about being very unique. So
Yeah.
basically, what I'm trying to get at.
Eventually, it's something that you're creating out of your interest from passion in that sense, and not trying to create something that is already out, I guess.
Right. Yeah, and
And
also just separate from the art itself, just a feeling of isolation. It can be very powerful if you know how to use it.
yeah, because like myself, when looking at the piece, like there's the both sides of it, and one of it there's the desolate. It depends on the color palette as well. I think one of it there's this desolate feeling of a planet never traveled, or this feeling of something that's in desolation, like explain.
Right.
But the other one, there's also the other side of it that kind of feels peaceful when it's a quiet area.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's like some pieces when I look at it, it's like a very nice countryside or a mountainous background place where you can just sit and relax in peace. Or at least that's some of my feelings when I look at some of the outputs that we've shared among each other throughout this time.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's what I was trying to go for, which is perfect.
Nice. Yeah, because like like I said, it's I think how it renders has been someone is fun to watch as well.
Oh yeah.
How it just kind of like explodes on like you throw a can of paint on the canvas and it explodes into some color.
Yeah.
Is this something that was also part of your experiment in how it renders in? Is it something also you looked at and how you can make it artistic style for yourself, how you can render it in?
Yeah, I think the part that really feels like me is the like final pass it does, where it like spreads the colors. It makes them mix with each other based on a
Yeah.
noise field. And then it applies like a painterly texture. I don't know if you've seen it, but if you zoom in, you can see these like streaks.
Yeah, definitely. That's my favorite aspect of it.
Yeah, that's what I've been. It's like a pretty generic shader that I've been developing for like an overall WootScoot look.
Yeah.
Which I've been applying on a lot of my latest pieces. Circumscript, for example, is where it originated from, which was my latest long form over on FX Hash, which totally made use of that shader, and like that's the result of the experimentation I did with it.
It's very cool. It really looks like a paintbrush.
Right.
Adding individual brush like individual brush strokes, creating all these color blends together. It's a very, very cool effect.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's like, what is for yourself your favorite aspect of the underlying code?
Yeah, it's very tough because I would say I like all of it. It's kind of selfish, but it's true.
How dare you like your own code?
Yeah, exactly. I would say probably the final pass with the paint spreading. It's very funny if you stop it before that happens, which I mean you can't do looking at it live, but I've done it a couple times while developing. If you don't do that final pass, you kind of miss the explosion, and like it doesn't become as unique or as powerful as when you do use that final pass, which is really I'm really happy with how it makes it look and how it like polishes it up.
Yeah, nice. And yeah, this is a question for like any inspire artist, generative artists out there. If you have any advice for them, if they're starting out in this space, or just wanting to play around with generative art in general.
Yeah, but you got it right there. That's exactly what I would say. It's just create art for fun. Don't do it for money. You'll run into I don't know, you run into burnouts, you'll have risks. I know some people that went into GEN.ART full time and had some big troubles with it because of the market lately.
Yeah.
And you just don't want that. I'm very fortunate to not have need the money from the generative art, which means I can just focus on creating and having fun, which is exactly what I would tell people that want to get into this. Is don't try to look at the money, which I know it's very it's inspiring, the money, but
It's
if you start out with having fun,
it's alluring at best. Yeah. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I wouldn't say it's alluring at best as well.
Right, exactly. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. But yeah, that's all what I would say. Just try to have fun.
Nice. Yeah, good advice. It's yeah, like you said, it can be very alluring, and it can maybe make you not be yourself, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. You can run into a problem where you try to be this big generative artist that everybody loves. You don't have to be that. If you can be the generative artist that you want to be, that makes art that you like, that's where you want to be.
Nice message. And it's I guess it's an ideal state that we want everybody to follow their passions in. And for yourself, do you have any other plans following this collection release?
Yeah, I have some projects lined up. Nothing that I can talk about right now, I don't think. But I've also just been making art just without releasing it lately, honestly. Just been creating and experimenting and having fun, which is the most important part.
I guess that's something that keeps your craft up to date in a sense, to keep practicing, keep doing just what you do.
Yeah.
Nice. And yeah, for that, I want to ask how can people find you online? Because we've been very excited to get this drop ready for a release on Gen.ART.
Hey.
And for the people listening, where can they find you and your work?
Yeah, the best place to find me by far is my Twitter. That's at Wouter Missler, which is WoutMissler. It's quite a tough name, but that's where I share most of my stuff that I work on, also just stuff that I won't release. And for bigger things, I have a website going now, WootScoot.art, where I make little write-ups on all of my pieces.
Cool.
Which there will be a write-up on Desolate as well.
Cool. Nice. And yeah, it's nice to it's nice to have this talk, actual talk, and not like text, which we've been doing for a while. And very excited for the coming drop on Gen.ART release coming soon. And do you have any final words or questions that you want to ask ourselves?
No, I don't think so. I'm honestly just very excited as well. Excited to share more, and excited to get the show on the road.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. Yeah, we're excited for that as well, and we're going to be releasing some more information about Desolate soon. And yeah, we're very excited for having you as our artist dropping the next collection, Desolate, on Gen.ART, coming soon. You can follow WootScoot on his social media and on Twitter, and yeah, stay up to date with us in Discord, as well as our social media on Twitter, where we'll be sharing more on our latest drop, Desolate by WootScoot. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your time with us today, WootScoot, and hopefully see you soon. Not hopefully, we will see you soon, and we're very excited for this drop.
I won't go anywhere, I promise.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Have a nice day, everyone, and see you soon, or see you in Discord. Bye.